to cancel the whole thing. Sorry.
You're funny. Ha ha, Dad. Yeah.
We're almost there. Hold on. I want to make sure. Let me drop out the. This is the only thing about this that drives me batty. It used to give us a little notification. I'm pretty sure that we're live and everybody's listening to me just ramble. Yep.
They are. But that's usual.
There we go. Okay. We are live. Superman, anytime you want to go.
Assembled in a great hall of justice are the collection of the most powerful superheroes the world has ever seen, created from the cosmic legends of the universe. Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, Aquaman. To fight foes no one hero can withstand. Welcome to the Microsoft Security Insights podcast, recorded March 1st, 2023.
How long did it take you? You've been away for like a week. Is that how long it took you to actually come up with that?
No, I was watching YouTube last night and
awesome.
Went down a rabbit hole and started watching Super Friend cartoons like 2 in the morning.
Before we jump into chatting, by the way, I live in Cincinnati, and that Hall of Justice in the Super Friends cartoon, that is actually from Cincinnati.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. They must have given him a tax break for developing in the state.
Kenner Toys was here. Kenner, which made the original Star Wars and then all the other action figures. That's one of the reasons.
Brody, you're not old enough to know that.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm rolling with it.
Everywhere I go, my wife and I travel, I always look, especially we're in the center of the town, to see what their Hall of Justice looks like. It's like their legal building, like the one in Rome looks really nice. Well, any of those European cities, their government buildings are very, have very good architecture. What's Corinthian and what's the other ones? Andrew, you're a history buff and all this trouble stuff. I know one. I don't know too many others. How's everyone doing?
Well, speaking of looking good, great, and you look great, Edward. I'll just call that out right now.
I've been in front of customers for the last 3 days, so excellent. We've had some very good discussions. Some on topic, some off topic. The last customer that's talking now. You're talking about some of the best feedback. I wish we could have recorded it about what he thinks of Microsoft, but essentially he's like, I saw this coming 5 years down the road, and you are the best security company in the world.
Wow.
So I don't know if that was your plan.
That's amazing. But
it's because of the platform. And the platform, you say you may not win every one, but you're always going to be in the top 5. And if you're in the top 5 and it makes sense to put it all in one place, I really wish we could have recorded, but they made sure no cell phones and stuff because it was a bunch of NDA stuff.
Right.
But he had a couple of comments, and I said, "Well, what's your impression of Microsoft?" He said, "Just my impression." He said, "World domination." I said, and he said, "But I mean that in a good way."
Right. Yes.
And he gave me a bunch of compete things of why he chose this over a bunch of other security products. I'm like, I did not know that. Right. So good week for me. Back running again. I'm healthy.
Awesome. Edward. Excellent. That's great, man.
Got to hang out with a good partner from Blue Voyage. Shout out to Mona. Thanks for the beer. Woo-hoo. She's a rock star. Just to listen to her history. You think you know, but you don't know. And you really are listening to her. Labbing up some stuff we'll talk about, later on. I don't want to delve too much in it, but I'm redoing the lab, bunch of firewall stuff, got some new toys. That's all I got in the office. I've had to battle traffic for 3 days. I don't know if coming back to the office I can do it.
You look the
What
part,
about you,
man.
Andrea?
I will tell you my funny thing. I went last night with my friend Amber. We went to see 80 for Brady at the movies, which may be the dumbest movie ever, but it was ridiculously fun. So we went to see that, had some popcorn, had 16 ounces of wine. That was like $42. It was
in a box.
We had a good time.
In a plastic cup, probably no less, right?
You know it. You know it.
Yeah, I mean, we've been going to happy hour this week. You'd be proud of me. I think I may have had a total of 3 nights out, maybe 3 beers.
Wow.
Super responsible. You know how far I live. Do not drink it. And sip a beer, sip of water, sip a beer, sip of water. Rod, I'll let you go next since you're not feeling good. And by the way, nice shirt. You look
you like that? This is something we need to talk about one of these days. This is an organization that Ed runs. I don't think we've ever had this discussion, and it's a super awesome thing. One of these days, we'll take a little bit of the show to talk about it because I think it's awesome. But yeah. Before we turn it over to Brody, as Edward mentioned, I've been sick for like 3 weeks, on and off. It's just this RSV weird stuff that I picked up in Seattle, and apparently, potentially, I may be in Seattle again next month. So I'm dreading it. Anyway, I do want to go over a few things before we jump over to Brody. This is an awesome month for us, right? This is what we call, and Andrew's really happy, Women in Cybersecurity Month, or the Microsoft Security Insight Show. I do want to kind of talk about that just a little bit. Let me, for all of those that are watching, you can see this for our listeners. This is our schedule this month. Today we have Maria. We're going to introduce Maria and bring her on screen here in just a few minutes. She is the MISA lead. We'll find out what that means. To me, I think that's super awesome because next month in April is MISA month. So we'll learn today what MISA is, and then you can all come back in April and talk to a lot of our great partners. March 8th, we have Vasu, Corporate Vice President for our marketing, Cyber Marketing at Microsoft. March 14th, good buddy of ours, Ian Johnson, will be on. March 22nd, you see there Future and Laura. I've met Future a few times, but Laura and I have done a bunch of cool things together, and I think we're doing something in April together as well, so it'd be great to catch up with her. March 29th, Elizabeth Stevens. Now this, I think, even though I just mentioned everybody and I was really excited, this Elizabeth Stevens, I think, it's going to be really interesting. Director of DC Cyber Risk Intelligence in the month. So I think that's actually kind of cool. So that's what our schedule looks like this month. We'll talk more about April a little bit further in the month as we go along about what we have planned for there. I also do want to mention we do have a lot of new listeners today because of the promotion around the Women in Cybersecurity Month. So for those newbies who are listening in for the first time, I think she's doing something. So listening for the first time, this show is on every Wednesday. Right now it's at 5 p.m. I think we're kind of negotiating maybe starting at 4 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesdays or whatever. Replay is available right after if you missed the live event. The beauty of the live event is that you get to ask questions of our guests and us and things as well. You get to participate and engage with the hosts. This show is then turned into a podcast, which was released the following Monday of every week. So if you're not one of those people that have the time or maybe the time zone to actually join us live, you can still catch the podcast on any of your favorite podcast networks. You can find Microsoft Security Insights. This is episode 142. We've been doing this for a while. So, stop back by and join our audience. And with that, I'll turn it over to Brody and see what he is doing this week.
Thanks, Rod. Thanks. Really appreciate that. Thanks for breaking that down for everyone. Honestly, this week's been interesting. The new opportunities come up. I don't know, Edward, Rod, Andrea, when you're in your comfort zone with certain aspects of your gig, and then someone's like, hey, would you like to start, identifying new areas like application security, zero trust architecture? I'm like, well, I haven't really touched that before, but the gig sounds really interesting. I'm really looking forward to working with the type of customer there in the public sector in Canada. So I'm just kind of ramping up in an area I've never even touched before. So I guess that whole lifelong learning aspect, right, just kind of keeps you going. So I'm looking forward to it. And that's all. That's really all that's new for me. I've got a bunch of customers I'm working with. They're all going to kind of end at around the same time where I can start off this new endeavor. And I'm just loving life up here in Canada. We had a really good snowboarding day on the ski hill on Sunday. Couldn't have had a better day. It was the best. So I know everyone on this call is in warm places. Maria is in Seattle, so maybe she's getting rain today. Just a guess, Maria. And then everyone else is get some great weather. But we're really enjoying the snow up here. We needed some snow badly in the ski hill. So that's all that's new for me. And let's bring on our guest, I'd say. Team, what do you think?
I would say so.
Hi, Maria.
Hey, how are you doing?
Oh, excellent. Just having the best day. Would you mind doing an introduction of yourself? Tell the world who you are, You're broadcasting on the whole internet today, Maria.
Wow, super exciting. So my name's Maria Thomson, and I look after the Microsoft Intelligent Security Association here at Microsoft. I am based in Seattle, and actually, you'll be surprised to know that it's not raining today. We're having about 4 seasons every day at the moment, right? Yesterday it started off snowing, then it rained, then the sun came out, and then so we really are all over the place. But currently, it's not raining.
Oh, perfect. Well, thank you. Just a guess. Just thought I'd throw that out there. That's amazing. Well, I'll just ask the first question if that's okay. Get the elephant in the room. What is MISA? What is the Microsoft Intelligent Security Association?
No, Brody, did you say MISO or MISA?
Well, it's not soup rod. I think it's just another acronym at Microsoft.
So my wife's been sick too. That's all I hear anymore is pho. Somebody go get me some pho. So
is my Canadian accent showing? Did I say MISO? It's okay, but I'm sure you get that.
I don't know what it was about, but yeah.
Yeah.
I heard MISA.
Okay. Thank you.
For sure. So yeah, for sure. The Microsoft Intelligent Security Association is an association of what we call our most strategic Microsoft security partners. And really, we have 2 kinds of partners within MISA. We have our ISVs, which are independent software vendors who are creating solutions, IP, and then we have Microsoft security service providers. So those would be our MSSPs, and they are building managed services. Now, how do you get into MISA? Each and every one of these partners has built an integration or a service with one of our Microsoft security products. It does go through a vetting and verifying process. So partners do have to be nominated to MISA by a Microsoft stakeholder. It is not a breadth program. So, well, actually, let me correct that straight away. It's not actually a program. It's an association of partners. And the idea right now, currently, we have about 307 partners in total. The idea would be to stay under 400. And so it's not about us, getting as many partners as we can. It really is about working with these partners who are building, integrating solutions and services with our security technology, and then can go and help make the world a safer place for all of our joint and mutual customers.
That's really interesting.
Yeah,
Sounds
amazing.
like you've had to explain that once or twice. You've got that well rehearsed, Maria.
I do have the pitch down pretty well. I've learned Dutch for 2 years now. So
is there any way that you could feed that into Bing Chat, please?
Where's MISA?
Exactly. I'm surprised it's not there already because we do get asked a lot.
I'm familiar with MISA. I can't really remember when it was established, but coming from the partner side, we had a little, I don't know, what was it, Andrea, pre-MISA, when we had our trifecta program of a sort, verified and validating, partners that wanted to do security and put and generated IP. Within your role, are you part of the nomination? You run it once it's already there? How does a partner sort of get into MISA?
Sure thing. Let me take you into that. So just in terms of when did it launch, we're coming up on 5 years old in April. So 2018, Microsoft MISA was launched. It was launched with actually just 26 ISVs. And so over the last 5 years, we really have increased that number. And then, as I say, we introduced MSSPs around about 2.5 years ago now. So really grown from those days. So we do have a set of, for ISVs and MSSPs, the process of getting nominated is slightly different. So let me jump in on the ISV side right now. So in terms of ISVs, what we do is we have of the Microsoft security products, we have 21 of the products that are qualifying products for MISA. And what I mean by that is I actually have engineering support and product marketing support across each one of those products. And so those are the SMEs that really help us. I was saying to Brody earlier, please don't ask me any technical questions. I have plenty of SMEs that help me with that. And when I say SME, I mean subject matter experts. And so what happens is each and every product engineering group has written a criteria that they, and when we talk about MISA as well, we really are looking for top notch, right? This is not minimum bar, like did you just do the minimum connect with an API, or, you know, on AAD, did you just kind of do single sign-on? We really are looking for top of the range kind of integrations. And so each engineering group writes up their criteria for what a qualifying integration would look like. And then what would happen is engineering would work with a specific partner to say, yes, we've looked at your integration. I'm just going to use Azure Active Directory, AAD, as an example, because I think that's probably one of the more common product integrations that we have. They would then meet with the partner, check out their integration. Yes, they meet the qualifying criteria, and then they actually would nominate the partner to MISA. We do have a set of qualifying criteria as well. So obviously we check those qualifying criteria, and then we begin the onboarding process with them. So on the ISV side, they get nominated by one of the product engineering groups. And then on the MSSP side, we're actually working with our friends over at the Global Partner Solutions team. Mm-hmm. And you know, they've written a whole lot of criteria around what are our top strategic MSSPs. And so we actually, our qualifying criteria is on the back of theirs. But what we kind of, in the discussions that we've had, is saying that MISA really is the top of the funnel. If we think about, you know, a step, if you're thinking of a pyramid kind of purpose, you know, for how these partners get recognized. So they would need to be managed within Global Partner Solutions. We have something called an MSSP program that they get invited to in the regions. So the regional teams actually decide who those partners are, which partners are having revenue, you know, customer impact, working with customers, driving revenue, driving usage, and running our Microsoft security workshops. And so they get onboarded into that program. So part of the criteria is that they would need to be in the MSSP program. And then once again, MISA has some qualifying criteria, and then the Global Partner Solutions team actually nominate MSSPs to MISA. So two slightly different roads for the different partner types.
I knew about the qualification. I didn't know how it went first. Now I understand how it goes, and it's not just a single.
You know, it's evolved over the years, obviously. You know, as I say, as we become a little bit more mature, you know, really in the beginning, we were a brand new cloud solution area. And so we really were all about getting partners to build integrations, you know, and we are slowly evolving that to say, hey, now we want you to do a little bit more and a little bit more. And those, you know, as those partners come in, what we actually offer partners. So this is what we get asked as well, you know, what does MISA actually do? So when I'm in MISA, what do I actually get? And so we've been defining that over the last year or so. So essentially, if you think of the solution lifecycle or a services lifecycle, there's kind of like the build and publish piece. Then there's go to market, you know, how do I drive awareness of these solutions and services? And then there's the sell with side, which is either selling to customer through other partners maybe, or through Microsoft sellers. And our sweet spot, we really sit in the middle. So once your solution is published and publicly available, they then would come to us, and we offer a selection of co-marketing benefits to partners.
I don't want to ask all the questions, but I want to ask one more minor question about something you said.
Go for it.
You said that you have a group of SMEs, subject matter experts, to help you write the qualifications or set the parameters. Is that a role at Microsoft, or is that volunteers that you have recruited so that you can do this within your sphere of influence?
It's a great question. So actually, it is a role within Microsoft. So, each security product has an engineering team, and that engineering team have people to varying degrees. Obviously, as I say, I'm working with 21 product groups, so it's a little bit different across, it's not exactly the same, but they do have people that actually specifically have a focus on partner and working with partners, figuring out what integration should look like. How do you build a solution that integrates with Sentinel, with AAD, with whatever those products are. And so they are actually part of our engineering teams. The work that they do with partners is part of their KPIs. I think the MISA piece kind of sits on top of that, but they recognize as well that they need the partners, so they're getting the partners to do the building. They're often working with partners and saying, hey, we'd love for you to do this. We'd love for you to do this. And then it's kind of like, well, once you've done that, we can help you co-market your solution. And that would happen through the MISA piece. So it really is a really nice collaboration collaboration across engineering. But no, they don't report to me, and but it is, it's part of their day to day, because partner is their focus, as part of their day to day on the engineering side.
Yeah, so a little value add there, just a couple things. We will actually be hearing from some of those partners next month. I didn't realize, and this is actually pretty fortunate for us, I didn't realize that next month is MISA's birthday. Oh my goodness. I was just kind of focused on the RSA conference and, the MISA awards. We're not going to talk much about that. We're not going to let any secrets out, but we'll talk to some of those partners next month. One of those partners is going to be talking to us from RSA, which I think is going to be kind of unique and interesting. But I'm glad you covered all that, Maria, and I think our partners will help at least cover some of that value add that they see from this. It's not a program. What is it? It's association.
An association of partners, yes.
Yeah, exactly. But I did ask on MISA, on Bing chat, how do I join MISA? It told me to go check the website.
Go figure.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key thing, right? Is that that it's not and this is the kind of why we call it an association and not a program, because generally with a program it's like I do 1, 2, 3, 4 and then I can get access to your program. And this really is, you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, but ultimately you still need to be nominated to MISA.
Well, and in that respect, I think it's important again to kind of separate the difference between a program and an association. Association assumes that you have something in the game. You have to actually do something to get that benefit and value. A program is you just sit back and expect the entity to take care of you. And this is a little bit different. This is more community based, is the way that I kind of see it.
100%. And I think that's probably one of the biggest values. I'm sure when you speak to the partners, you'll see, but often we hear from partners that, the biggest value that they find with MISA is the partner to partner piece. In fact, we had a summit in December that we had just over 100 companies at, just over 200 people representing those companies. And we actually on the first day did a full-on partner-to-partner networking event, speed dating, try and get 100 companies in front of each other. I mean, it was great fun.
Awesome.
We kind of gave them 4 minutes with each partner, like this is it, introduce yourselves and then connect afterwards. And it was amazing. I mean, the highlight of the 3 days is what most of the partners came back and said, I didn't realize that's all I need to do. I could have done away with the other 2 days of content. Made it much easier.
I'm honestly surprised that any partner could describe themselves or introduce themselves in 4 minutes, but that's great to know that it could be done.
Well, it's more a connection, We also just put a book together for them, so totally understand. And that's what they said, 4 minutes. And we were like, okay, well, we'll put a booklet together that's got your website and a little paragraph that explains a little bit about who you are. So we did try and facilitate. But fair point. I mean, who can meet anybody in 4 minutes, right, and know exactly what they do? The purpose was to facilitate conversations.
Oh, that's nice. Gary, excellent. So, Maria, last week we had a guest on whose job at Microsoft is to help partners secure their own environments. From a partner's perspective, how do you think that we can help close that gap in cybersecurity? And even more importantly, since it's Women in Cybersecurity Month, how can we draw more women into the cybersecurity field, do you think?
Wow. Okay. So that's like 2 separate questions, right? On closing the partner gap, I mean, I think it's a big topic, right? And once again, not an area that is my area of expertise at all, I think, but I do think it's around education, which is kind of what we try and do with our MISA members as well. Let them know everything that's available to them so that they can ensure, that they are protected. I would say from a MISA perspective, specifically on the MSSP side, that the majority of them have got that right. Protect, because they are working with other customers and that to help them protect their environments. So, but I think it is just about education, right? And, helping them, supporting them in terms of the building and the information that they need. That we know that Microsoft is now, a big player in the security space and which is super exciting. So, I think it's just about education. From that perspective. In terms of drawing women into cybersecurity, I think there is a piece of like I mean, and I can tell you just from my experience. So, this is not my world. This is not my bag. I mean, for those of you on the audience, I don't know. I used to be a professional dancer.
Oh, cool.
So 22 years, that was what I did with my life. I love technology, absolutely love technology. But, I mean, never ever thought I'd be working at a corporate. And danced professionally for 22 years. And then kind of when it came time to retiring, it was kind of a weird journey. I started working for an events company and I became the account manager for Nokia, the phone company.
Oh, cool.
And I was working on development and marketing, actually applications that were built on the Windows platform. And then literally I joined on, I think, the 1st of March, and I think on the 14th of March, they announced the acquisition. And it was like, well, hello, now you work for Microsoft. And I was like, okay. And it was, for sure a baptism of fire, because I cried. I think I say to people, I cried for 6 months because I said to my husband, they don't speak English. I don't know what's going on, and here I am 9 years later. And I think for me, there's a misconception out there. Well, for me, at least in my experience, that you have to be educated in this. You have to have studied it for years and years and years. And actually, I think, a lot of it, obviously engineering is slightly different, but on the marketing side, I think the one thing is that you can learn anything. You just have to be passionate and dedicated. And if you put your mind to it, you actually can learn anything. So I think in terms of drawing people in, it is about, having conversations and saying, hey, don't disqualify yourself. If this is something that you're interested in getting into, start talking to the right people, start talking, make connections. LinkedIn is great for that perspective. I'm mentoring a couple of people that have reached out and said, hey, they've also come from more of a creative background, and like, hey, how do you get into, into marketing in the security arena. And so I think it is, just about driving that awareness that it's not, I think you tend to think you've got to have, a doctorate degree before you can do any of this stuff. And so I think it is about having those conversations and saying to them, hey, if you put your mind to it and you're a passion. I mean, I remember the guy that, employed me at Nokia. He showed me the job description and I was like, no, I don't understand words on this page. I've never had a job description in my life. You can either dance or you can't dance. I mean, that's, that's pretty much, you know what I mean? Like, there's no resume, exactly,
Yeah.
So I said to him, no, I don't think I can do this. And he said, no, I think you can. And I said, no, I don't understand what you're talking about. I've never had a KPI in my life, but he said to me, you're passionate about our product, and I need a passionate person, and I can teach you the rest, and that was literally what got me in. I was saying no, and eventually they were like, well, come and try it, just come and try it for a couple of months, and then we'll see. If you don't like it, you can leave. And as I say, 9 years later, here we are still, and so I think that we just need to be talking to the right people and making it accessible, across, and that's, inclusive across any, we talk about women in cybersecurity, that's really important, but there's obviously also other groups, who possibly feel like they're not included in that. I think the other big thing, and I know that it's something that our organization looked at, was that, you always, whenever you look at job descriptions to get into the industry, it's kind of like, well, you need 8 years experience and you need a degree. And I believe that we've taken that off of our job descriptions in terms of the degree, because it's like, well, not everybody is afforded that opportunity to go and study. It's especially in the United States, it's really, really expensive. And so not everyone has that opportunity, and yet they might be a really, really good candidate. I often say that if I'd have gone through the normal route of getting into Microsoft, they wouldn't have even looked at me, because I don't have a degree in this world. I have a dance degree. And honestly, even if I'd have interviewed, I knew nothing. When I say I knew nothing, I didn't know how to speak the speak. I didn't know the lingo. And yet here we are, and it is about people who are prepared to mentor, and people who are about to, walk you through a process and hold your hand through it. And so I think all of those things are important, around, so if there's any people in the audience who are wanting to get into and don't know how to, I'd say reach out and get some mentors, because a lot of it is who you know. know. And then the other thing is, don't limit yourself by your thinking. You can do anything, honestly. And I believe that. And I've proved it. You can do anything that you put your mind to. You've just got to get in there and do it. And sometimes it's really uncomfortable, and sometimes you want to run 1,000,000 miles. But hey, if you stick it out, it's amazing. It really is amazing what you can learn and what you can accomplish.
Maria, I think you might be the perfect example of someone to have. No, I'm serious. Of someone to have on the show for people who are thinking about getting into cybersecurity or security. Absolutely. And they're trying to pivot from another career. We have a lot of people that, that I want to do something different. I want to do this, this hot thing or whatever this thing is that everybody's doing, but they're reluctant because, again, maybe they don't have that skill set, or they don't feel comfortable with that skill set, or they don't have that degree in that thing. They might have the degree in something else and feel like they have to stick with that the rest of their life. You're absolutely the perfect example of someone that, you can do anything. And I think that's an important thing to highlight.
Yeah. That's what I say to people. If I made it, anybody on the planet can do it. It's, you have to be driven. I know that I'm pretty single-minded, and I hate feeling stupid. If there's one thing that I hate, it's feeling stupid. And so it's kind of like, I'm going to figure this out.
I'm just so dumb, I never feel stupid. People
made a comment that, I came from dancing for all these years, and it's very factual. You either dance or you can't. All right, well, you have a couple of drinks. I think I dance better. I don't think I do security better, but I know I dance better. That's the one.
Oh, well said. Well said. Although some calls I get on with customers, you might want to have one, but I don't. Absolutely not. Maria, that's inspiring. That's super inspiring. Thank you. I love how you said it's driven by passion. I love how somebody just talked you into it and forced you to be uncomfortable. I mean, I'm sure all of us on this call and everyone listening and watching, we've all been asked to get into uncomfortable situations, and it worked out for the better, right, in our careers. So your story is just incredibly inspiring. We really appreciate you sharing that today.
And I think, on the other thing, I mean, at Microsoft, I've had a lot of roles, there's reorgs, and it's like, oh, this morning, now you're going to do this. And I always say to people, I think I've chosen 2 roles in my 9 years at Microsoft. All of the others, it's just kind of been like, oh, sorry, not doing that anymore. Now you're doing this. And there's always that uncomfortable time, right? I mean, that uncomfortable time of like, man, I just want to go and dance again. It was much easier. But I do have to say as well that, in a way, I'm so grateful to Microsoft for having done that, because I've had the opportunity to learn so much. I've, expand your horizons. I've, learn about partner. Initially when I joined, I was working with ISVs in the Azure world, how to platform on Azure, how to build on Azure, how do we all about Azure consumption. I knew nothing. I didn't even know what Azure was when I first got here, and there were a couple of people, as I say, that held my hand and were amazing mentors to me. So you always need those mentors who are prepared to take the time. But, and I often look at it and go, if someone had come to me and said, do you want to do this? Initially, I would have said, no, I don't want to do it because I can't do it. I don't know anything about it. I was forced into it. And, a year down the line, you're like, I would honestly be on meetings sometimes and just go, hey, I know stuff. And now I know stuff. And so that would be my encouragement, even if you're looking to get in and an offer comes your way and it's maybe not quite what you think you can do, or maybe not even what you really want to do, I always say, get your foot in the door, learn what you need to learn, and then you can start to meet people and network, and the opportunities open up. They really, really do. And so that would be another piece of advice, if you're looking to get in and something comes your way, maybe just take it, put your mind to it and go for it. Because you really, it really does open up a world that I just would never have gone after on my own.
Right. You have to pinch yourself sometimes, right? You're like, I didn't, everything in my life that I've been successful at has been unintended. Everything that I plan has failed. That's just the way it is.
I love
it, right?
Right, it's insane, because you look at that thing like, what is your career path? We all have those career discussions, and I'm like, well, I don't know. Microsoft have pretty much decided what it's going to be for the last 9 years, and it hasn't been that bad. So I'm happy to continue. And when I started out my career as a dancer, I certainly never thought I would be in the corporate world, let alone at a software company. It just just insane. So, sometimes it is about, well, just let it happen, maybe.
Yeah. That's hilarious. What was the hardest part about pivoting into this field, right? You had a great mentor, but like, what are some of the hurdles, some of the challenges that you overcame? We'd love to hear about that.
Wow. Honestly, I think probably the hardest part is my own limitations, like my own mindset and my own view of myself and what I thought I could do. You know what I mean? That
I do. I think that happens a lot in our lives. We get in our own way, right?
You know, that whole imposter syndrome thing, which I'd never really been, you know, as I say, even in the dance world, you don't really have that, because either you can do it or you can't. Honestly, you're not going to get a dance gig if you can't dance. You know what I mean? I mean, there are certain things that you do have to have a qualification for, or at least have, you know, some practice in. But so I think that probably that was the biggest hurdle, and really a lot of self-talk. You know, my husband does a lot of EQ training, and so, you know, what are you thinking about yourself? What are you recognizing? And then how do you start to change that mindset? You know, what affirmations are you making? What declarations are you making? What belief do you have around yourself? So that was one piece. I think the other challenges were really, and I think anybody that works at Microsoft, and I'm sure any software company, I just only have this experience, you know, is just being kind to, I always say this to new people, like, be kind to yourself. I think Microsoft is a really scary place when you come in firsthand. And, you know, I think we've got a glossary of what's like 4,000 or something acronyms. Some mean 3 things. And, you know, and when you ask people what the acronyms mean, even they don't know what they mean.
And then we added one called MISA. So
yeah, not the soup, not the soup. Yeah.
You know, it's all of it. I had no hand in that. I had no hand in another acronym. But I think, you know, it can be a scary place. And I always just say to people, first of all, be kind to yourself and just give yourself time. Like, you don't have to know everything today on day one. You know, you're going to look back after a month and you're going to go, hey, I know I learned something. And, you know, and I always say, for me, the big mark is, your 2 big marks are 6 months and a year in a new role. You know, 6 months, you start to feel, oh, okay, I don't mind now speaking up on a call and feeling like I have some confidence in what I'm saying. And a year down the line, you're kind of like, okay, you know, I feel like I know some stuff here and I feel like I can do. And I think as well that the confidence builds, and you're also okay with being able to say, I actually don't know the answer to that.
All right.
You know,
such an important thing to be able to say.
Well, I'm sure I should know this. I mean,
I think that was one of the most difficult things for me working at Microsoft, because I have this engineering mind. I want to look at something and figure it out. People ask me a question I don't know. I'm like, I have to know this, right?
Right. The pressure. That speaks to your imposter syndrome, Maria. Comment.
Exactly.
Like,
you know, so ask the questions. Never be scared to go, hey, you know, I have no idea what you're speaking about right now. And you break it down. And I bet you there's 10 other people on the call going, oh my goodness, thank you for somebody.
Thank you. Right. You're a little vulnerable, right? Little Brene Brown in our lives. Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. It helps a lot. Yeah.
You know, and it's just about one day at a time, you know, tackling it one day at a time, and just, you know, and being kind to yourself.
So obviously you've been here a while and you've not left us, which is awesome. But there has to be something keeping you here. What's your favorite thing? What is the favorite thing about your job?
You know, I said this to a lot of people during the pandemic, and you know, even now, Microsoft, for me, Microsoft are really good to us, I believe. I do love the company culture. I was fortunate enough to come on board. It was kind of like, I think within a year that Satya kind of took over, and I believe that the culture's changed a lot, but I do believe I like the culture. You know, I think that they look after us. I think they've created an environment where you can be vulnerable, you can speak up, you know, you are protected, so they look after you. Honestly, I love the people that I work with. You know, and that's across every opportunity that I've had. I was 4 years in South Africa, and then I've now been actually just 5 years in April as well, in Seattle. And so I think even that opportunity, you know, being able to move country, Microsoft were really, you know, they made that happen for us. And so we had dreams, you know, we thought we were moving into a different place in life and like ready kind of like for the next adventure when my son left home. And it's kind of like, well, what does it look like? You know, we'd love to go and try living in another country, and it's not easy to try and do that on your own, especially coming from South Africa. And so, you know, just that opportunity in itself has been amazing. And I'm super grateful for it because it's opened up a whole lot of new doors and new experiences for us. And so I think it is, you know, I think there is for me that thing of like, I'm going to stay until I make it work. And then as I said, they every 18 months, they kind of change my role. So it's like, oh, we're going to start again, you know, so it's always exciting. But honestly, I just, you know, I do love the company, and I'm a firm supporter, and, you know, I feel looked after, and I feel heard, and, you know, and yeah, as you know, time really goes quickly, right? You look back and you're like, look, it's 9 years. I can't believe it's 9 years. So, you know, yeah, I think that's, I don't know if that answers your question, but.
Yeah. And MISA is awesome. I think the reputation of MISA is everybody that thinks of MISA, they think it's awesome. And I think you have a lot to do with that. So there's kudos for you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have some stuff coming up at RSA for MISA, right? You want to talk about that a little bit, as much as we can?
Yes, for sure. I'd love to. Yeah. So, you know, as you know, RSA is for Microsoft. It's a third-party event. It's not an event that we own, and so Microsoft is going to be heading along there, you know, as a vendor, and we're going to be wanting to speak to our customers. But I work really closely with the team that organizes that, and you know, we just see such value in the work that our MISA members are doing, specifically around their integrations with our security products. We think it tells a great, better together story. You know, we rely on, you know, Microsoft really does rely on partners for a lot of its business. And I think it's, you know, last time I looked, it was like 95% of our revenue came through partners. So we do see the value in partner. And I really love that we, you know, that the Microsoft has given us the opportunity to say, hey, let's bring some partners along on the journey. They've done some great work with us. They've built these, you know, these solutions and services that integrate with our first party products. And so let's showcase them and let's tell the better together story. So actually at the expo booth, the Microsoft expo booth, we will have a specifically dedicated section to MISA. And we have about 25 partners that will be able to showcase and demo their solutions to customers that come and visit the stand. I will be doing some outreach on it as we get nearer the time, just to let you know who those partners are. And I can share that with you if you wanted to share that out with anybody. We just, you know, we're just busy finalizing that. So we've actually got what we call 21 demo slots. So that is where, as I say, each partner gets 60 minutes to come and interact with our customers, share about their solutions, how they integrate with Microsoft technology, and see if they can, you know, get some leads from that. And then 5 of our partners are going to be having theatre sessions where they actually get a 20-minute slot and they are able to actually present to customers that come and sit in our theatre. You know, and once again, it's always telling the better together story, but it does just, you know, let customers know what's out there and what partners are doing to help them protect their environments, you know, in this crazy, crazy world that we live in right now. So that's what we're going to be doing. There's executive meetings and, you know, meetings with me if they want to do that. So we've got a really great partner presence at RSA. And then you mentioned it a little bit earlier on, but we do like to celebrate the accomplishments of all of our great MISA members. And so we will be having our 4th, actually, this is the 4th annual awards ceremony. We changed the name last year, so it's now called the Microsoft Security Excellence Awards. It is for MISA members only, and members have an opportunity to nominate themselves across 11 award categories, and Microsoft stakeholders can nominate partners as well. We're just actually busy in the finalizing who our finalists are going to be. And I will make that announcement on Monday. So it'll be all over LinkedIn. So we will be announcing who our 55 finalists are. And then we open voting. And so voting, once again, happens. MISA members can vote and any Microsoft stakeholders. And then we will have a ceremony at RSA where we will announce our winners and celebrate our winners. So that's super exciting.
So I think the awards ceremony, or the excellence ceremony, is at my favorite hotel in the world. So we can talk about that later. I love that place.
You
Because
probably got a ticket, Rod. Are you going to RSA this year?
Spectacular. I don't want to announce it yet because we're still just in the final phases of, buttoning it all up. But it is pretty spectacular, I must say. Especially the room that we are looking at has the most unbelievable views. So you actually don't need to bring a whole lot of decor in because it's just like, oh my goodness, just go and stand at the window. It's beautiful. So yes, we're very, very excited about that.
awesome.
Who is going to man the RSA? I have to assume you're going to be there.
Oh, for sure. I will be at the at RSA, and I do also have to say on this show, MISA, it's not only me. I have a team of 7 people that I could not do this without. I get to spearhead it and I get to be the face of. But honestly, I have 4 partner managers who look after our over 300 partners. So they are managing close to 100 partners each. And they do a phenomenal job. I have an operations and business manager. I have somebody who helps partners with, getting published into marketplace. And then we obviously have an onboarding manager because there is a contractual process when you get nominated. So I do have a full team that work with me, and they are amazing. And as I say, full credit to them. I really, really could not do this. This is not a one-man show by any stretch. And so I will have 2 of my team members actually with me at RSA. And one of my team members, her name is Sadie. She will be responsible for looking after the expo, all 27 slots that we have that week. She's going to be pretty much living at the Microsoft stand in the expo hall. So she'll be managing that. I'll be looking after some of the executive meetings. And as I said, there'll be meetings with me. And then the other thing that we do is we offer each of our members a solution overview video. It's one of the benefits that they get of being a MISA member. And what we love to do at RSA, especially in this, in the world that we've been in, normally we have to film those virtually. And it works great, and we do that, and the majority of our videos are done. But what we like to do is for RSA, we bring in about 16 of our partners, and we're going to film those there. So I have my business and operations manager coming in, and she'll be responsible for working with partners. And for 2 days straight, they will be filming those solution overview videos.
Andrew, are you going to RSA? Are you presenting this year?
I am not. I keep trying. I was so funny, Maria. The very first year when I didn't know any better, I applied to speak at RSA and got picked. And every year since then, no one has selected any of my choices since then. So it was just, I think, beginner's luck. It's always a great time to go. It's such a great learning experience. Is anybody, Rod, you're going? Brody, Edward?
We'll see.
I want to go.
Well, we'll see. Maria, you need any volunteers? You got any passes?
So that, yeah. We don't have any travel budget. Who has travel budget? Come on.
Well, I think that's the thing, right? And that is the call. Like everybody that's going has to justify the business reason for them being there.
I may just happen to be out there, and you may need a volunteer.
There you go. I'm sure we could see
but I don't have a pass.
Volunteers at the Microsoft booth,
I need a pass to get in. Anybody have a free pass laying around? We'll talk offline about it.
Let's talk offline. Yeah. We'll see what we can do.
Perfect.
But it sounds like you have a lot of things going on, and it sounds like, you have to have a supporting team. Unless you want to join the Justice League of Security Heroes, who could do all this themselves. So we do have some slots in our security league, so we're going to put our applications. You just have to tell us your superpower, and then we'll go through it, right?
I can tap dance. Does that count as a superpower? Oh, I used to be able to tap dance. I retired a while ago now. I have my tap shoes, but they've not been used in a long time.
I'm sure you're better than all of us, so that's your control.
Do you ever watch Dancing with the Stars and just cringe when people mess up?
You don't always cringe because you recognize, Dancing with the Stars, that's hard graft. I'm always amazed at actually how much they manage to do when they, not so much the pros, but the people that they're bringing on. It's just like, wow, I really do appreciate what they're doing. So no, there's definitely no cringe factor. Sometimes you're just like, wow, like I really respect how hard that is, So, hats off to everybody who manages to even get into the first round.
Well, let me just say, you've never seen Edward do the worm. If you want to see true grace in motion.
Well, I was just saying, I keep hearing about Edward's dancing skills, so I definitely think we're going to have, a dance off at some point.
No, you might need entertainment at the Excellence Awards this year.
Right.
A few drinks, and Ed, do any dance step you want.
You'll see me dancing like, what's that dancing baby from back in the day, Halle McBeal? You'll see me doing that.
Well, I'll let you know when we open up for auditions.
You could expect a meme later, by the way.
Can do that, yeah. Oh man, it's amazing how you think you know something about something, but I did not know as much as I thought I knew about what MISA does. I knew. Well, let me ask this other question here. I was scribbling down some notes so I don't forget to have a senior moment here. You're saying that you're trying to keep the number below 400. That must mean membership in the association is not perpetual. You have to maintain a certain standard and be validated and audited.
So yes, now we don't. It's not like every year we revalidate and renew, but we have put in some places where we will audit members. And actually, as we're right in the middle of FY24 planning right now for our next financial year. For those of you that don't speak the Microsoft speak, I have to remember. My husband says to me now, he says, "Babe, you don't speak English anymore," because that's what I cried before, and I was like, "They don't speak English," and now he says, "You don't speak English. I don't understand the words coming out of your mouth."
It's just acronyms, right, Maria? All you do is just acronyms.
I go FY24. What is that? What is that? And I'm like, Anyway, so for our new financial year, which starts on the 1st of July, and so we are actually looking at some of those criteria, right? Because we do, and as we get to a place where more and more, we are getting more recognition out there. People are starting to be aware of what MISA is. There's quite a high demand. I get obviously emails and pings on LinkedIn all the time. And so we do continuously look at that criteria. And I think also we launched 5 years ago when we were a baby, in the security world, and so much has grown and evolved. And obviously the program needs to do that to keep current. And to ensure that we are, working with those strategic security partners. And so, yes, we do have an audit process. We do continuously work on the ISV side, specifically with engineering, to say, hey, these are the partners that have got integrations with your solutions. When last did you check them? Are the partners keeping up to date with their integrations? Do they continuously do updates and, make sure that they're staying ahead of the game? So, yes, there is an audit process. And then obviously sometimes companies get acquired, especially ISVs, right? In the ISV world, they're continuously being acquired. And obviously if you've been acquired, then we off-board from a membership perspective. But for sure, we are continuously looking at that membership and just, making sure that we're keeping that high bar.
Didn't MISA used to have a crest or logo or badge of honor? I haven't. Is it still around? I haven't seen it.
I wouldn't say it's a badge of honor. It's a MISA member badge. So every member, once they get onboarded, they get the badge that they can then use, on their websites, on email signatures, when they publish their solutions. There we go. When they publish their solutions to the marketplace, we like them to put their badge there. There's so many solutions in our commercial marketplace, and so I think it does bring customers a little bit of peace of mind. As I say, we are starting to. It's a name that people are starting to recognize. So like partners can say, hey, I'm a MISA member, and customers have confidence in their solution, and what they're offering. So yes, they do get a badge, and that they can use as long as they're MISA members across their collateral and for their advertising.
Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing a look at that. I thought it was something like the Ninja Cat thingy. That was
no, that's not us. That's not us.
But it's great that you were able to see something from inception to now something that really carries a lot of important weight in the industry, across different verticals. That must be quite the experience to grow something to what it is now. You must have a lot of pride in the work that you and your team have been putting into this over the last few years.
I for sure do, but to also to be really candid, I only came on board 2 years ago, and so the people that came before me that really were the brainchild for creating MISA all those years ago. It was running 3 years before I kind of jumped in on board. But yes, I think that when it started, it was really about, hey, we need partners. Like, we don't have any partners that are building with Microsoft Security, so we need partners. And it is even over the last year, how we look at how we are maturing the program. And it is, and I think for me, and it is a testament to so many people. It's not just about me, because even every single collaborator that I have, as I say, across 21 product marketing teams and 21 product engineering groups, and there's a lot of people that collaborate and have helped with this. But I think it is exciting to see that the brand is now, becoming a household name. And when I say household, obviously I mean within the security, world. So for sure, it is. I am proud of what the team have achieved and what we've become. But there's always room to grow, improve, mature, do better. And so we're constantly looking at that and thinking about those next steps as well.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and just suggest that the things that Microsoft that we've been most successful at, our products and platforms, is where we haven't actually driven it, but we've allowed community to drive that thing. If you look at Windows 10 when it came out, the Windows Insider Group, Windows people loved Windows, right? Because we had the Insider Group. The Sentinel is a really huge, strong community. Sentinel does really well. And I think MISA kind of falls in line with the same thing. As we kind of allow these communities to be able to engage, give them opportunities, that's really what drives the success for these programs or associations. Sorry, not programs, but associations.
Yeah.
Products. Yeah.
Well, I think for sure. And I think, honestly, it's not only about driving the success of our association, right? I think that the reason that MISA is also to drive awareness and the success of Microsoft security technology, and our partners are doing a great job of helping to create that brand love as well. They are sitting with the customers and saying, hey, we've got this great solution, and if you pair it with some Microsoft security technology, hey, you're protected at the next level. So I think for sure, community is everything, right? And that brand awareness, ultimately, MISA is there. As I say, it really is about Microsoft security. And a lot of people have actually said to me, well, where did the name come from? And if you think about, 5 years ago specifically, it was intelligent cloud, intelligent edge, and now we're looking intelligent security. Like, we really our customers want to know that we've got these intelligent security solutions, that are definitely going to help them and protect them in this crazy world that we live in,
Well, if you put the name intelligent on it, you kind of have to live up to it. So yeah, it takes work, but I think we've accomplished that.
Yeah, I think we for sure we do. And yeah, I think, as I say, I think that brand awareness, and it does. I think it just creates some confidence for customers, as well, because there are so many partners out there all shouting like, well, pick me, pick me, pick me. And that's not just Microsoft security partners, it's across every landscape, So I think it does help to know that, hey, there is this association that is vetting and verifying and working with partners to ensure that they're offering the very best to customers.
So we have, we're kind of near the end here, but we did have, and I want to make this request now. We have a Christmas special every year. Would you be open to having the Security Insights dance off in our Christmas special episode in December?
Wow. Well, you'd have to tell me what it entails. You know what I say to people, that the fee for bringing someone out of retirement is normally exceptionally high. Do you know what I mean? So I've been in retirement for about 9 years now. Yeah. So I don't know, show me the money and we'll see what we can do.
Definitely won't be the worm. Definitely Edward's got that covered. So.
We can all take turns doing our favorite dance, whatever that might be,
Yeah, that's that area where the planning fails, right? So nobody wants to see me dance at all. at
Same.
all.
Thanks for the 7-month heads up. Now I'm gonna have to think about that.
Good.
Yeah, all right.
Maria, are you taking any new students? That's the first question.
I'm always taking students.
All right,
I
that's
probably
awesome.
need to be a student myself first. As I say, I haven't danced for a good
Oh,
couple
there
of
you go.
years. You know, they say you don't lose it, but I think, you know, certain things I think you lose. But I'm game. You know, let's. I bring my
Perfect.
tap shoes.
All right.
Bring my tap shoes and see what I can do. And if it's Christmas, we've got a couple of months.
Woo!
Writing this down. That was.
I think you might be a winner there. I don't know if I want to, you know, if I want to put
All right.
myself on that stage.
In that blazer, he's a winner today for sure. Look
There
at
you
that.
go.
Just styling. Yeah.
There's all I'm doing here. I'm gonna put Maria in a little box. You just have to check it and say that you'll be here. So we'll work that out.
Be there.
All right. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate that. Anyone else with any questions, Maria? I thought this is super awesome. I appreciate
Excellent
it so much.
interview.
No
Excellent.
questions.
Your
It's
passion's
starting to get
obvious.
loud in here. They're kicking everybody out of the office and they're cleaning.
Oh, are they?
They're knocking down your door, Edward. That happens a lot to you at the end of our
But it's taco
episodes.
night, so
Yeah, that's
Is it?
fair. No, but Maria, your passion obviously is just immense. I love your story. It's really important this month to have folks like yourself come on and talk about how you got into the field and your career. And I was all smiles this whole time. Thank you so much for your time
Yes,
today. and
really.
explaining
What a treat to have you here. Thank you for coming.
And chatting to you all.
yeah. Thank you so much. Hopefully, I'll see you at RSA. We'll see. We'll see how that works out.
Yeah.
We'll talk. Don't forget next week. This is still Women in Cybersecurity Month, all month. So next week is Vasu. She is awesome. So come back. Not that Maria's not awesome. That didn't sound
she's
very good.
amazing.
All
That didn't
equally
sound good at all. Oh my goodness.
Also awesome.
Maria's the best. She's
No. I'm very happy to vouch for Sue and for Anne. And for Anne, they are great
Yeah.
advocates. And, you know, you can start to talk the really deep security stuff. They're amazing, both of them. I'm going to definitely jump on and hear what they've got to say. So definitely worthwhile listening to both of those for sure.
yes,
Perfect.
absolutely.
Perfect.
Well, thank you so much, Maria.
Thank you.
to our
Thank you for
listeners
having
and our
me.
watchers. Again, we'll talk to everyone next week.
To all of our listeners, supporters, and watchers, same bat time, same bat channel next week.
Thank you all. Take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.